Alright, we've got all these 8 bolts out. As you can see, this deck just slides out. Once you got your deck out, move your wood. And you've got to take these side bolts off here. Get the right tool. Take these side bolts off. Now these are your spacer plates, which allows the bladder to control the height and width of it. These are your adjuster bolts, which creates the bladder to go up and down and do all of that. First, take these out. And there's 2 in the front, 2 on the back. Total of 8. Get these all taken off. Spin this around a little bit. Get these back ones off. And once these are off, you should be able just to slide right on out. Whoops. And once these slide on out, you'll be able to take your bottom plate and lift your whole bottom plate out, which I'm going to show you here in 2 seconds. You should slide right on out. Like I said, they should. There we go. Take a little bit of elbow grease. Okay, once you got your adjusting plates off, you want to pretty much grab your middle bottom plate. It's going to be a little heavy, but you got muscle, you should be able to do it. Once you get your plate up, set it up like so, and this is where your bladder sits. Pretty much what you're going to do is you're going to peel your bladder off completely. Once your bladder's off completely, you want to get some sort of hot plate or knife, heat it up. This is what you're going to peel off the double-sided tape with. Pretty much what the double-sided tape does is it seals the bladder to the actual bottom plate. And when doing this, you want to be kind of careful because this stuff gets very, very hot. But it's also the cleanest and safest, really quickest way to do this. If you don't have a blowtorch or anything like that, you could use a razor blade, but it's just like I said, it's going to take a lot of time. Be careful too, because this stuff is really hot once it peels off. Alright, now once you got your double-sided seal off, you're going to go ahead and get your bladder, get your new bladder with the new double-sided tape. What you're going to do now is you're going to take your double-sided tape, peel it off. Okay, once that's peeled off, you're going to seal it back to your actual bottom plate. Pretty much what you want to do is you want to keep it very square. Make sure your holes line up with the hole of the center of the bladder. Alright, make sure there's no overhang on each side so that you don't get any pinches. Once that's on there, do the same thing. Flip your plate back over, place it inside of the middle plate, and pretty much just work backwards from there. You're going to put your adjusting plates back in. Sometimes you got to get a hammer or something to make sure everything gets in right. You don't really have to be gentle with these machines because they're all steel. Okay, make sure your holes line up. Once your holes line up, put everything back into place. Now when you do this, you don't want to touch your adjusting bolts because you'll have to reset all adjusting everything all over again, and everything should be preset for you. Get these back bolts in here just so they're in place. Just to get them in there all then. Said sometimes you gotta work to get these holes to line up. This is an older clicker, so it's a little bit harder for me here. But your newer clickers, it should just slide right in. Everything should be a lot simpler. Alright, spin your middle plate around with the new bladder in it. You do the front bolts. Usually what we do when we do these, we like to tighten certain ones up first, so we'll tighten one up on this side, go into the back, tighten one up, and pretty much do a crisscross just so it stays level. So it's not all cockeyed. Okay, once you get these bolts in here, I think I dropped one. Alrighty. Okay, once you get this back into place, you're going to have your muscle come in. Chris, I'm going to need your help here. You want to take your middle plate, move it off to the side, just so that's out of the way for now. What we're going to do now is we're going to take our clicker we had flipped upside down, and we're going to flip it back to the way it should be. Now remember, you should still have bolts in there still, so that once you flip it over, they're all going to either pop out. So we like to take them out usually before we flip them. Alright, you got the bolts there. Let's flip this back over. Thanks, Chris. Around. Alright. Now, you're going to have your muscles here. First thing to do is flip it up on the back side here like this, so it's vertical. Let the front end fall. Now this is very heavy, so be careful. Walk it over to your center and slide it in. Make sure it lines up. Alright. Alright, now that's done. Okay. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to have your clicker. Now this is very dangerous, so you want to be very, very, very careful. You want to have your clicker overhanging your table just a hair to where you can get underneath to the very first bolt on the front right corner, or just one of the corners first. Now you're going to have to do some adjusting to get this middle plate holes lined up to where they were. So it's going to take just a little bit of time, a little time consuming, but once you get it, one hole, they all should start lining up. I suggest not tightening the bolt down all the way, because if you do that, you can still have to move, or you still be able to move the middle plate to get your holes all lined up correctly. Okay, once you get those corners started, you can do the front side first, and pretty much repeat this process all the way around the whole clicker, just till you have one hanging over each time. I suggest for the back bolts, once you get your front bolts all done, I suggest getting the back bolts once you get everything done. Just lift this back end up, right? Lift up your back end. and you want to prop some type of wood or something just to wedge it to where it's up at an angle. A lot of times it's better to have two people here. Then you're going to come up underneath the clicker and tighten it that way. Okay. Once the whole middle plate's hooked back up, you want to hook your control box back up. Your hose is going to be coming from the bottom all the way to the middle here. We like to slide it through the middle here, have it come out the side. Get your control box hooked back up. Hook your line back up into your control box. And get your clamp. Get your clamp back on here. No leaks. Place your box back on top of the clicker. Bolt that down, and you are ready to roll. And that's it to building a 15-ton without or replacing a bladder on a 15-ton without a forklift.